Hi, everybody. I am Becky Nova, and I wanted to give you a little video today about setting goals and really how to get started. I know that's one of the biggest topics in the group, so that is something that I want to make sure to just really going to help people with because I know that this is just a really hard thing to do. So I know I did a little video a while ago about what were some of the first steps that I had taken. So if you haven't seen that, make sure to go to Live Free with Becky Nova and you can see my video about some of the first steps that I took to get into real estate investing and what was helpful for me. But this one, I really want to talk about goals. The idea of this is kind of, I talk to so many people that come up to me like, oh my God, like you own rental properties. Like, I so want to do that. I'm like, cool. Like, what do you want to do with rental properties? Or why do you want to own rental properties? And they really kind of don't know. So since they don't know that part, they really then aren't sure what steps to take. And then I feel like they just kind of get stuck in that process of, well, I guess I'll just never do anything except besides telling people that it's what I want to do. So I do not want to see you guys stuck in that same spot. So some of you guys might be familiar with this concept, but I want to talk about something called SMART goals. SMART goals is actually an acronym, and it takes you through the steps of how to set up goals to help you really actually get to the end point. So I was going to take you through that today. So I want you guys to think about this in terms of what you want to do with real estate. Why are you here in this group? What brought you to it? So the first one, S, for people that are not good with spelling, stands for specific. What you want to do is you want to think about when we're back in grade school learning about all those like W words, like the who, where, what, why. That's what you want to think about in this. Why are we doing this? What is it you want to do? Real estate investing is huge. That's way too broad to say, like, oh, I want to be a real estate investor. That unfortunately is not going to help you move forward and necessarily what you want to do. I also would like to add a little contingency here that one, you do not have to know what exactly that is right now. Your goal could actually be that you just want to learn more about real estate investing so that way you can be more specific in the future. That's perfectly okay. Everybody is in a different space here. So, one, it's okay if you don't know what it is and what specifically you want to do, but then make it your goal to figure out what it is specifically. Also, um, it is perfectly okay if it changes. Some people, when I went into real estate, my goal has completely changed. I just really wanted to shut my husband up because he wanted to buy a house. Now I want to buy more rental properties. That's okay to change things, but it's really going to help when you're kind of going through this process. So you want to think about your why. That to me helps kind of focus on my other W questions. Personally, I live in New York. It is maybe like 20 degrees where I am right now. I do not like that. I want to be living on a beach and I don't want to wait to retire to be able to do that. I want to do that earlier. So if my ultimate goal is really to just kind of, I actually really want like one of those bed and breakfasts down there somewhere in the Caribbean. So if I want to do that, I need to make sure that the decisions I'm making are in that direction, right? So that's kind of my why. But think about what your why is, think about what your what's are, and then you can, in the scope of what real estate investing is, and that'll kind of help direct everything else. Measurable is what the M stands for in SMART. What that means is how are you going to know if you met that, right? So to me, say measurable, you have to figure out like how do you know when you actually met your goal? Next letter A. A is attainable. That means do you have the skills to actually get this done? How important is this to you? Is this something that you're willing to possibly go back to school for, take a couple lessons, take a couple classes, or just kind of hone in some of the skills that you might already have to be able to get to this goal? If there's something that you're lacking, which might be possible, I know you guys are all amazing, but it happens. If that's something you need to do, how willing are you to do that? If you're not willing to step up and say, hey, I'm going to go watch this video and I'm going to learn how to do this properly, well, then that might not be attainable for you. And then you want to go back to what your specific part of this lesson is. So then that way you can actually get to a goal that would be attainable. R stands for realistic. Realistic means, is this something that you can achieve? And I talk about that in a ton of different ways. Sometimes people, I get a lot of people that I talk to that are like, well, I want to buy rental properties because it's going to make me a ton of money and I just want a ton of money in the mail. And honestly, at least from my perspective and what I do in real estate investing, I don't just get a check in the mail. I end up doing a lot of things to be able to get those checks in the mail. And it does also cost a lot of money to be able to continue to get checks in the mail. So I think that when you think about that, what's realistic, there's other options of ways that you can get checks in the mail, but then you need to make sure that that realistic idea is going to fit with the specificity that you started with. Lastly is T, which stands for time bound. That means really set a deadline. And that, once again, if your specific goal is just to learn what part of real estate investing I want to be a part of, put a time limit on that and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to listen to podcasts and read some books about it until March 1st. And then I'm going to come back and make the next goal. What that's going to do is that's going to make sure that you don't kind of get stuck in, oh, what's that phrase people use now? That like analysis paralysis, where you're just sitting there thinking about this and thinking about it and saying that you want it, but you don't necessarily do it. So that's what T stands for. So I encourage you guys all to just it takes 5 minutes to do a SMART goal, but to think about really why real estate investing is something that you want to be a part of and write down some goals. There's always the great things that happen when you put pen to paper, but think about what those things are, list them out, and hold yourself accountable. You can absolutely use the group to share what your goals are. I would love to have some people write in the comments below what their goals are and what they're working on now and just share with the group because you have, a ton of people that are working in a similar aspect to you that are perfectly happy to help keep you accountable. And we would really all love to hear that. So feel free to do that in the comments. I'll put my specific goal down there too. And I hope we can all help you and I hope you learned something today. All right. Everybody have a happy rest of your day and I'll see you guys soon for another video.